Welcome to part 1 of the new player guide. This part's going to have us clearing the entire prologue, which is the 6th world, as well as the first episode, while explaining all of the things that we unlock along the way. It's also going to cover how you should be building your units so that you can progress through these two parts without much difficulty. If you didn't see part 0, that's where I mentioned where to get information on various things in the game, like the text version of the new player guide, which is in the description, as well as the community guides channel in the Discord and the guidance grounds channel in the Discord, where you can either see all of the guides or you can ask for help if you need something a bit more detailed. Also, in this guide, I'm going to be building a very specific way because I don't want to use extra resources that I don't have to. If you have some extra units you want to build because you like them, or if you just want to invest a little bit more to make it a bit easier, then feel free. You don't have to follow it 100%. The most important thing is that you're enjoying the game. Also, this entire account is going to be streamed, so if you feel like you would benefit from actually watching somebody play out the game and not just this condensed guide, then you can check out the playlist that is also linked in the description. Starting off the game, you're just gonna progress the story until you clear Chapter 1 of the 6th world. After clearing 6th world Chapter 1, head back out to the lobby to see a bunch of new stuff. You have the check-in rewards. This is just every 28 days, this thing you clear it and you start again. New player check-in. The important stuff is probably on day 2, the attack set, and the HP set on day 3. Mainly the right side pieces, the necklace and the ring for the HP set, because we get better gear so fast at this point that these login pieces honestly aren't even that useful anymore. And then there's the 5-star summon tickets, which are kind of nice. You also have all of your new player buffs that show up, and also the special events. This one's not that important. Bologna's not that useful of a unit. She's kind of nice to have, but it's just a bonus if you decide to buy anything. Rank achievement is the more important one, just for increasing your account rank. You get a bunch of bookmarks, Iseria, really useful PV unit, and then Song of Stars, which is very useful for clearing some stages later. And then even eventually when you stop using it, you'll just be using it to increase your damage numbers a little bit in some PvE content, and then it's just a bunch of summons. That's pretty much it. Also, you should look for any other events down here. Right now, the current ones is just the check-in event. So I can get some free gold. And then this we're just going to ignore. So the other one is the Epic Pass. In the Epic Pass, there's 3 when you start an account. Here's First Steps. This is just a bunch of Skystones. The free one gives you 1,000 Skystones for hitting rank 9 on the pass. And then if you want to spend $10, you can buy 5,000 Skystones for $10, which probably doesn't mean anything to you this early, but I would say it's a pretty good deal. This number is a little bit exaggerated, but it is a lot of Skystones for a pretty cheap price if you're looking to spend a little bit. Increasing your EXP on the passes is just by doing the missions. It'll be different depending on the pass. For this one, it's just spend 200 energy a day. Next one is the Hero Growth Boost. This one focuses on materials that enhance your hero. So penguins to level them, blooms to promote them to a higher star, catalysts to enhance their skills, stigma to buy blooms or penguins, and the free ones is just a bunch of penguins, blooms, some catalysts, some stigma with a 5-star hero summon ticket at the end. This character here, Selector Tenebria, you can actually get her in the premium pass, which costs $30. So you have Spectre Tenebria. You also have her skin, which is being shown here. A bunch of materials. So there's some runes, blooms, a lot of penguins, a lot of catalysts, more blooms, 15 Molagores here and 15 here. So 30 Molagores is enough to max out her skills after she hits Friendship 10. You also have this to just fully awaken her instantly, and this to promote her to 6-star. So you're pretty much buying Spectre Tenebria completely maxed out with a bunch of extra resources for $30. I don't think Spectre Tenebria is that useful, but if you think it's a pretty character and you don't mind spending 30 for a character that's relatively hard to get, you can get her for free later, but she's not the only option, so you could skip her, buy her, and then pick a different character. And then a bunch of resources for 30. I think this is also a decent option. And we can pick up our free penguins for now. Then there's the Episode Conquest Epic Pass. This one focuses on materials for enhancing gear. The free one is just some charms, which is useful. And then here you can get some chests where you can get a chance to get some good gear. We'll take our free charms for now. The paid one is there's 2 sets of gear and then a ton of charms for enhancing them. These pieces of gear are unrolled, so they could be bad, could be good. But based off the substats, I'd say they're pretty good. Pretty much every single piece I'd be willing to enhance, even as a veteran. So this gear I would say is pretty good, and then you do have some pieces that come pre-rolled. They're already plus 15. Every single one of them, except for the boots, have 17 speed. This is pretty good value. None of these pieces are useful once you hit the very end game, but especially early game and even through your mid game, all of these pieces will be pretty useful. This is for $30. This is also a pretty good value pass if you're looking to spend some money. And then you can also see if there's any other active epic passes. This one is already over, but I can get a free 2 leaves anyways. And then there is another event going on right now, which this probably won't be up if you're watching this way in the future, but for now I can claim these coupons, and over here I'll grab my 7 leaves. And then eventually, whenever I want, I can get that. I'll just get it now. 20 energy. There is one more place for events. If you go to the top right and this icon here at the bottom left, this is the old events tab. And if you're on PC client, it's not too useful. You still can see your chicken rewards here though. But if you're on mobile or on emulator, you can see an ad and a coupon banner here. So now we're here on emulator and we can take a look at the events board again. At the very bottom, there's the ads and the coupons. The ads, you can watch them 5 times a day, 20 energy each for a total of 100 energy. For the coupons, we don't have that many coupons usually. Right now we do have one, E7 Origin, and there is still a way to enter coupons even if you're playing on the PC client though. So there is a web page to redeem your coupons. You can either log into Stove to redeem more easily, or you can redeem without logging in. The link for the website itself is epic7.onstove.com/en/coupon. If you go to redeem without logging in, you can see you have to select your server, and then you can find your membership ID, which is, if you go to the settings in your game, you have your membership ID there, then you enter the nickname and then the coupon code. We also have a bunch of stuff here. The main thing that we can use for now is the shop. In the shop, 1 time a day, you can get this completely free. It's just 40 energy and some gold. And then we can't do anything with it now, but 2 more sources of energy, friendship points, which you'll get eventually after clearing the 6 world prologue. You buy 40 energy a day, and the flags you also want to buy every day, but this will get explained later once we actually unlock the content. And then conquest points, same thing, you want 40 energy a day, and this 1 Molagora a week, so we can use this to enhance our unit skills. And then might as well go over the other shops. The other important ones is the Transmit Stone shop. You can get Transmit Stones, the Silver Transmit Stones, from fusing heroes together or by selling them. And also, for the penguins, there's 3 tiers. The highest tier, Epic Penguin tier, if you sell that, you also get a Transmit Stone. You should be trying to do that early game. But then later in the game, once you start rolling more, Silver Transmit Stones stop being useful, so you don't have to worry about it later, but for now you kind of want to prioritize them. And then Gold Transmit Stones, you kind of just get these like in random places. Every single Gold Transmit Stone should be spent for the Galaxy bookmarks. This 5-star, 4 to 5-star hero ticket isn't really worth it. For your Silver Transmit Stones, prioritize the Molagora, then the Equipment Convergent Gem Selection chest. Then once you start feeling like you have a lot of Silver Transmit Stones, you can get the Artifact Charms and the Accessory Charms, as well as the Ego Fragment if you ever need it, and that's about it. And the Powder Shop is pretty useful. The Bottle of Knowledge you want to pick up every single time. And then these ones are just whatever is on banner. Typically you only buy these for 240 if it's a limited artifact. And then these rotate in and out, and then these just depend if you want them or not. And powder you can get by selling artifacts, which you get from summoning, which I will get into more once that actually gets unlocked. You can also check your mailbox now, and you can claim a bunch of stuff just from starting out your account. And then there's also your usual login energy, which I'm just going to claim all of it, as well as some event stuff. You can just grab all of this real quick. Okay, now we have the Orbis guide and summons. So first we have to get through this menu, which just shows you the current 5-star and banner, which we're going to completely ignore for now. For summons, they're just explaining some stuff. You have 1 free summon today, but we have 11 right now because there's the free summon event. Your first Covenant summons, always going to be the same unit. It's Angelica, who we're not going to build, but she is going to be useful for our account. Get us through just the prologue, and also, even though we're not building her, we will be using her through a feature that will get explained later. We can also do our 10 summon to see what we hit. Skip it. Nothing particularly useful. So besides the free Covenant summon banner, I should also explain what the other banners are. So you'll see banners up here sometimes. These are the rate up units. These banners have a pity. It's 120 summons, and then on your 121st summon, you will be guaranteed to get the unit. The artifact is not guaranteed. You'd have to buy it in the powder shop if you want it there. Besides that, there's also the story summon. You actually don't really get to use this that often because you're going to be getting a lot of units just randomly, and then unless the unit is something that you really need, you're going to be spending your summons mostly just on new units, especially limited ones. And sometimes they do a special type of banner called the custom group banner, which you don't need to know about now. Whenever that's up, that's when you would start looking into it. There's also the Mystic Summon. Mystic Summon uses a different currency from Covenant bookmarks, and these are focused on Moonlight 5-stars. Right now it's a bit of a special case, but typically here in the lineup you'd either see 1 5-star, which would be a new 5-star, and then 1 old 4-star, or you would see 4 old 5-stars where you can select which one you want to pick. Right now it just so happens that we can pick any of them, but usually you'd only be able to pick 1 out of 4. And then you would also see 1 4-star, potentially a new one. So that's how the Mystic Summon works, and this is your primary source for Moonlight 5-stars. There's also the Moonlight Summon, which uses Galaxy bookmarks. This is another source for Moonlight heroes, but the odds aren't as high, and you have a, not really a pity, but you get a 4 to 5-star ticket every 20 summons, and this ticket has a 15% chance to get a 5-star. You'll get a decent amount here, but since the rate of acquisition on this is really low, most of your 5-stars, I would say, still come from Mystic Summons. There's also Element Summons. The sources for these vary. You'll kind of get them from a bunch of random places. They're just summons that focus on a specific element. Only thing worth noting is that the 4 to 5-star summons have a 30% 5-star rate, while most tickets typically have 15. There's also Friendship Summons, which don't really matter. This just drops 2-star fodder, which you can exchange for Stigma, and then 1 to 2-star artifacts, which you can just use as artifact EXP. Not really that important. Once you start summoning, though, there's a couple of management things you need to do. When you start summoning a bunch, you'll start getting duplicate units, and what you should do with your duplicate units is you should always fuse them together. You can go to Memory Imprint here, and when you fuse them together, you'll get lesser blooms. If you fuse 4-star together, you'll get greater blooms, and if you fuse 5-star together, you will get epic blooms. So this memory imprinting will get you some blooms, and this also serves another purpose, because if you go to your reputation missions, in the first tab near the bottom, there is this Unlock Devotion Skill Grade SSS with a hero. This is just memory imprinting them to SSS, and each time you do it, you'll start getting some Covenant bookmarks, and this will go up eventually. The number here caps out at 30, and I believe it's 75 SSS imprints. So pretty much all of your 3-stars that you get, you're going to want to fuse them together until you get SSS. You should always keep a copy of every single unit just in case they get buffed in the future. or maybe they get a specialty change. Once you get an SSS copy of a 3-star, you can toss them into your waiting room if it's not really used. And then you should probably make a second SSS copy just so you can progress the mission. And then you can sell off your second copy. Just make sure you keep one copy of every unit. We also unlock the Orbis guide. So the Orbis guide is actually really useful. It's pretty much a progression guide, and you can kind of just follow this, and you won't really go wrong. We're going to ignore this for now, but we'll be coming back to it pretty soon. This thing is just going to dump rewards on you for pretty much the entirety of the first few months of the game. Also in the Orbis guide, you can see the Three Sisters Diary. This is your daily missions. It gives you like 65 Skystones total and some other goodies. Mainly this 10% battle gold per 1 hour is nice. These missions are pretty easily completable. It's kind of just play the game and do basic stuff. There's also weekly missions that give you a bunch of rewards. It's like a bit of charms, 2 gold transmit stones. These are also largely just play the game. Sometimes you might have to check in at the end of the week and just make sure that you have this complete though, because sometimes I find myself not completing it naturally. Just make sure you're remembering to claim your daily reputation rewards. Also, whenever you have the time, you should just look at your Epic Pass to see if you've gotten any EXP or anything. Most of these new ones are kind of just reach higher ranks or clear episodes though. Also, there's the Reputation tab. You can come in here and just get free stuff every once in a while. So now we've unlocked Hero Awakening and also the Spirit Altar. So we can go check out the Spirit Altar. We're not really going to farm it yet, but just to take a look at it. So this is where we farm runes to awaken our units. There's one for each element, and typically it rotates which one is available, each one being a different day, with all altars being open on the weekends. We're going to ignore this for now. Also, all altars are open for like the first month when you're playing a new account. It's part of your buffs. So we're going to ignore this for now just because we don't need it, but do keep in mind that this is where you do farm runes to awaken your units. And how do I check my buffs? Here. New spirits welcome. You can enter spirit altars of all elements. Okay, so now we've unlocked connections. And connections is pretty much where you can get free heroes after doing a couple of missions. We can go take a look at the one we unlocked. Just a tutorial. Top right, recruit tab, connections. And we get free spirit Iseria for free. So this character is potentially useful. It kind of depends who you're going to take from your Moonlight Blessing after you clear the entire 6th world. Just to mention it ahead of time, if you're going to pick Arbiter Vildred, then you don't need to build free spirit Iseria. If you're picking Spectre Tenebria or any other character, then you probably should build free spirit Iseria. I'll be skipping her since I plan on picking RB later. And some other useful connections is Tamarin, who you can get much later in episode 2. Commander Lorena, Furious, and then Veronica is a much later in the game for PvP, and then Camilla is all the way in episode 3. I would say those ones are the main ones. Kana is also okay, just not super mandatory. The other ones are much higher priority. This is the first stage that you probably can't just blast through without leveling anything. If you do, once you get Kayron down to 1 HP, he's going to go Immortal, he's going to use his S1, and then he's going to use his S3. And if he kills a unit, it'll extend his buffs by 1 turn, plus it gives him attack buff for 2 turns anyways, and then he's going to S1 again. Yeah, you're gonna die when Kayron hits 1 HP and just starts obliterating you. We can kind of just stat check him. Well, first up, I'm gonna remove Loka because she's a gotcha character, and you might not have her. You can just take some penguins, honestly, and just get Victorica and Angelica to level 30. We're not really using either of these units long term, but it's a pretty cheap investment. And if you find yourself still stuck, you could just level them up a little bit more. Of course, if you're on day 2 or day 3 already, just slap the lock-in gear on them. Or if you bought the premium version of the packs, you can also slap some of the gear from there as well. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter that much. You don't have any gear anyways. It's worth noting that the triple hit isn't guaranteed to happen. It's just with the way the speeds line up and Kayron's really high base speed, he's typically going to start lapping your units. Here we did the hit right when he was about to go, so he just easily takes 3 turns. But since our units are tanky enough, we're at least able to tank the S3 and Angelica survives the S1, and she can deal the finishing blow. So yeah, it might take a couple of tries, but it is doable just with those two at level 30. You can level them a little bit more for a slightly easier time. After defeating Kayron, we've unlocked Abyss. And then Abyss is, okay, once this goes away, you can go to the battle menu and you can see Abyss. So Abyss, there's normal and there's also challenge mode. Challenge mode you'll unlock after clearing Abyss 80. This one has a bit more limitations and gimmicks on what you can and can't use. For now, we just have the normal Abyss. Normal Abyss, each stage costs 10 coins, and up until probably floor late 80s is pretty easy, with a couple of exceptions where you might have to read the skills. For now, we're going to ignore this because we can there's no limit on you clearing the stages, it's just your energy. So we'll come back after we get some better units and better gear. Mainly, you're just going to want to clear Abyss as the Path of Air asks you to. Like, I think here, there's one that asks you to clear Abyss 3. So yeah, you can just follow the Path of Air for Abyss, and then once you feel like you're strong enough, you can start pushing ahead if you want to. So now we've hit rank 10, which lets us unlock a couple of things. So first up is if you go to the shop, in the packs, you can see the rank up pack 1, and as your rank increases, you'll be able to get a couple of free goodies. You can take this for now. I'll note that this here, the EXP booster, you don't want to claim immediately. You want to leave this here for when you're going to be spending a lot of time farming EXP, because this will claim immediately and it only lasts for 3 hours. And then one more thing we unlock is we're going to unlock guilds. Guilds are really important. You're going to need guilds for a ton of resources that the guilds themselves will provide. And also because guilds are partially required for getting some units, like in connections, but just the resources that guilds give are too good to pass up. So there's going to be a couple ways to apply to guilds. You can either go to the guild recruitment hall in the Discord, or you can ask around if you know anybody who's playing, see if they know anybody with spots in their guild, or if they have a spot in their guild. If you still have the default name, this is a good time to switch off of it. You can go to change nickname, type in whatever nickname you want to use. Why is that unavailable? Is it because my old account hasn't deleted yet? We'll just leave it. You can change your nickname, and then also you might want to change your greetings, new player name. Pretty much anything to make you look like a not NPC. You can edit your profile card a little bit. If you want to make your profile cards really nice, you can check out Dim Sum on YouTube, who has pretty extensive guides on making some profile cards. Who else are we putting in? We'll put in Loka. You can just put in like anything that makes it not just the generic profile. And this is also a good time to set your supporters. You can just auto-assign it. So now, when you go to guilds, you can either go to open acceptance guilds or selective ones. Whichever one you prefer. Automatic ones will automatically accept you, so you don't have to go through a wait time. One of the hard things is seeing if the guild is active or not. If you go to info, and then info again, you can kind of see how active they are. Mainly you're looking for anybody who has not been logged in for a while. Like, this guild has a few people that haven't logged in for a while, and their assistance is pretty low. It looks like it's largely just fresh accounts. And you can hit refresh to try and see if there's any good ones. Open acceptance guilds are normally pretty miss. Like, this one looks okay, but because it's open, you can see it's kind of flooded with new accounts. Some of them that have already quit, like this guy's... Well, this guy's 1 day, it's maybe not a quit. But yeah, this one's 4 days. You can also go to the selective ones where a lot of these might not accept you because they have higher requirements. The easiest way to get into a guild, though, is just to know somebody who is already in a guild and have them invite you. And now to showcase the best way to get into a guild, have somebody invite you and then join their guild. So, in guilds, there's a lot of things to do. There's the daily check-in. This gives you some Brave Crest and some gold, depending on how many people are in the guild. And then we also have aid. So in aid, you have the option to trade either blooms or penguins. I personally think blooms are better just because, especially once you hit later in the game, nobody is short on blooms, whereas penguins are a bit more useful since they can be exchanged for gold. One more thing for the guild aid. Whether you're trading blooms or penguins, if you're worried about running out of resources, you can just make sure that you only ever donate the amount that you receive. So you'll only ever receive 8 penguins, each donation is 2, and you can make sure that you're not running low on resources by only ever sending out 8 penguins as well. There's a donate tab. You should always donate the gold just because you're going to want these Brave Crests. I should also explain the Proof of Courage. Proof of Courage is a currency that only exists to be exchanged for armbands. And armbands will be used in the member shop, which I'll explain later. So the way to get Proof of Courage is there's 2 main ways. The first way is when you are farming stages in episode, there is a random chance to get this as a rare drop. And the second way is in World Boss. World Boss isn't unlocked until rank 50, so I'm showing this on a different account. But for World Boss, first up in your supporters, you can just click on auto assign. It'll just assign whatever you have geared for that element. And then once you've assigned all of your supporters, you can do 2 entries per day on 6 out of 7 days of the week. There's 1 day that's a cooldown day. But you just go in here, pick a big number, go to team formation, auto assign, and then you can click start for 20 energy. And then once you're in here, you're just going to skip past the actual fight once the animation finishes. You're going to hit skip. And now you can get your rewards. So the rewards will scale based on how much damage you deal, which is based on the combat power of your units. And the rewards can be anything. There's gold, there's Brave Crests, there's charms, silver transmit stones, and we got some pieces of gear. There are also some rarer rewards, which you can see somewhere here. You can see some of the rewards here. There's a lot. The main ones is the Molagora and the 10 powder are probably the most useful rewards here. But pretty much you just go in here and do it twice a day because you also get 1 Proof of Courage, which is very valuable to get the armbands, and you can just donate them. And there's the weekly missions. These weekly missions you should try to complete. Most of them are pretty trivial to clear. It's just like, this is pretty much just play the game. Though me joining a guild this late means I can't complete the guild check-in because it's already Friday. Proof of Courages you get from doing World Boss. The World Boss itself you don't unlock until account rank 50. And then there's of course Guild War. For Guild War on an early account, you're not going to be able to do much. You can just go in and assign your Guild War defense. One thing though, do not assign Angelica to Guild War defense. If you assign Angelica to Guild War defense, it's going to cause you some trouble later on. So just make sure she's not on your Guild War defense. So just summarize it, just aid, donate, and then weekly missions. And you can spend your currencies in the member shop. Main thing here is the Molagora, the random equipment conversion gem, and the artifact charms for your Brave Crests. For your commander's armbands though, You're going to want to first prioritize the artifacts, in my opinion. There's some other good stuff down here. The problem is your armband income isn't that high, and some of these artifacts are really, really good. Your top priorities should be 1 copy of Proof of Valor, a copy of Symbol of Unity, and a copy of Warhorn. After that, I would say a copy of Victorious Flag, and then Bastion of Hope is good, but it's a pretty specific artifact since it's just Ephra stuff, so I'd leave this for last. I would max out Proof of Valor, Symbol of Unity, Warhorn, and then Victorious Flag. The first 3 you can do whichever order you prefer, whatever. This is tanking, this is DPS, and this is support, whatever you prefer. And then you can either get a second copy of Proof of Valor and max that out, or you can start working on Bastion. Guide to a Decision is very, very niche. You maybe want to pick this up at the very end, or just pick it up once you have an idea of what you're doing for it. It's a super niche PvP artifact, not really used that often. After you get the artifacts, or once you feel comfortable with your income, how frequent it is, frequency, the Mystic Medal, the Greater Modification Gem Selection Chest, and the Equipment Conversion Gem Chest are the items you want to prioritize. You can also do this random level 85 epic equipment. You definitely want to know what you're doing for rolling gear before you start doing this, because 500 armbands, and you can buy it twice a month, is a very steep cost. I would say, unless you're in a 5x guild, or a guild the top 20%, that gives armbands after each guild war, it's going to be hard to buy this just because your armband currency income isn't going to be enough. But if you do have enough, then you can consider buying it. So to summarize for the armband, since there's a lot, it's prioritize the artifacts, and then it's Mystic, Mod Gem Chest, and Conversion Chest weekly, and sometimes the epic equipment if you find anything good. Clearing what must be protected in Chapter 4 unlocks the Ogre's Armory. You can access that by going to battle. And here is the Ogre's Armory. We're not doing this. This thing is completely useless. There's pretty much no point in farming it. We're only ever going to clear it because the Orbis guide, or the Path of Air rather, is going to ask you to do it 1 time. And then 3 times. That's the only times we'll ever touch this content, because there's really no reason to farm it. With how much gear they give you in other sources, the Ogre gear is just a complete waste of energy. And charms, because it costs a bit more charms to enhance now than it used to. We've got Ross on our team now as a playable unit, as we've cleared all of the 6th world, which was serving pretty much as the prologue for the main game. Now we're on to the main story, starting off with Episode 1, but before we actually enter Episode 1, let's go check out some of the new things that we've unlocked having cleared the entire prologue. So one is, we now have the Moonlight Blessing that I mentioned, where we can get the free Moonlight 5-star. Your choices, it's really just either Arbiter Vildred or Spectre Tenebria. I think Arbiter Vildred is really, really good for the early game. He's kind of just an insane QOL unit. Even though Free Spirit Tieria is a solid replacement, that's mainly in the context of her being able to reset her S2 when one-shotting mobs. She's a lot worse than him at clearing any stage. She can't one-shot, which makes RB way better at stuff like side story and higher level episode stages. He also kind of tears through Arena all the way until Champion. Spectre Tenebria is also a pretty solid choice. She has really good burst damage with her spammable Soulburn S1 giving her extra turns. So she's pretty useful in some Abyss stages, as well as Nightmare Cycle, which is content that you'll unlock later. It's like endgame content, but she's not really mandatory, and you can live without her, so she's not like a must-have or anything. Keep in mind, though, that she is purchasable from the Hero Growth Boost Epic Pass premium rewards if you also really want her there, so you could buy her there and then get RB here if you want. Neither of them are really that good in PvP right now, though it's a little bit subject to change. Like I said earlier, though, I'll be going with RB as my pick, because I think he's just much, much better at clearing through parts of the early game and some parts of the mid game, and it just makes it feel a lot better to play to me. So you can pick him here, and you can see the missions now. There's some missions here, but we don't have to worry about them. We'll be able to do them just from playing the game naturally. But some parts are locked off, like we can't enhance the skills, can't put them on defense teams, no 5-star awakening, and no 6-star promotion. We also unlock Arena. So the Arena is really, really important. This is where you're going to get most of your charms to enhance your gear. first just toss in whatever random units you have as your defense. You can see Arby's blocked out because I haven't completed the missions. From clearing fights, we gain conquest points, and these conquest points are what we use in the shop here. If I can open it, you can use it to purchase energy, Molagoras, some gear, which I'll go over later, and also charms to enhance your equipment. The thing with Arena is each entry costs 1 flag, and you get 1 flag per hour, which you can also purchase 5 flags once a day for 100 friendship points. And you're going to want to be pretty much using as many flags as you can. If you plan on playing War for the Day, though, and you're still super early, you might want to not do too many, because the Path of Air does ask you to do Arena at some points in the missions. Like here, this one, Path of Air 4, Arena 3 times, and then if you go a bit further down, there's another Arena 3 times. So you might want to make sure you have flags for those. So here it gives you 3 flags. Your first few fights are always going to be versus bots. If you're like certain that you're going to win the fight, you can just hit this button here to quick battle it. And I'm actually not sure if I'm going to win, but we can find out. Yeah, so it's fine. You can just quick battle it. And that pretty much just instantly simulates the fight. Speeds it up a lot. Eventually, after you clear off enough bots, you can see how many it takes. But after you clear enough bots, you'll start seeing real people. And for the real people, you're going to want to take a couple of things into account. Okay, it's still bots. You're going to want to take a look at the unit they have on defense. A lot of the ones in lower ranks are just a singular unit. That singular unit, if it's really high level, like if it's a level 60 unit, you might want to be a little bit careful. Like here, so now we're seeing real people after the first 5 fights. And you also want to take a look at their arena points, and if you go in, you can also see their rank. Rank 16, pretty low, where this one's higher level than all of our stuff, so we're not going to hit it. Someone like this might be a bit easier. So you can look at the units' levels and also their ranks to compare if you want. Just make sure you try to avoid certain stuff on defense. Just if it's like a single unit that's really high level, that might be something that you can't beat. So it doesn't matter if you win or lose, just make sure you're using your flags so you can get conquest points. Also in Arena, for your first 45 fights, you'll get these weekly play rewards. It's 50 Skystones every 15 fights, so 45 fights for 150 Skystones total. There is also the Battle Pass. This Battle Pass pretty much just gives you free stuff for playing through Arena. And you can get some charms, there's also some gear, as well as when you reach the very end, you can get this completion reward. This Unknown Slate lets you increase the memory imprint of your 5-star heroes. You're going to want to check what the duration is for the rest of the pass. Like, I'm starting this account at the very end of a season, so I'm not going to be able to complete too much of the pass, as you can only get 500 EXP per week. You have the option to buy rank. I would say generally, this isn't worth. The gear in the past would have to be pretty good. I think the gear in this pass is maybe good enough that it's worth it. I'm going to personally skip it myself. I think this path is one of the few ones that would be worth it. But the one next season, for example, we know the set is injury set. That one's definitely not worth it, purely because the gear is bad. So at this point, for anybody who is also picking Arbiter Vildred, you can just start investing stuff into him. I'm going to keep the Epic Penguins for the Silver Transmit Stones later, so we're going to boost them to level 30. And we're also going to start awakening him a little bit. If you didn't pick Arbiter Vildred, like you picked Spectre Tenebria or something, then you're going to want to invest into Free Spirit Tyria for now instead. We don't have any materials, so we can look to start pushing the Orbis guide in order to get more materials, because you can see they give us some penguins here. Then here we can start getting a little bit of the gear. Our goal is we're going to clear Path of Air 2 since we have cleared the 6th world episode, chapter 4 already. So one big thing you'll notice is once you start doing stages in episode 1, you can start picking up people's units as supporters, and you can actually go expand your friend list in order to use people's supporters to help you clear stages. Pretty much anybody who is a rank 70 player that has units geared is going to be able to obliterate any stage that you need when you get stuck in adventure. If you have anybody that you know, you can just send them a friend request. So you can send friend requests to, if you join a guild, you can send friend requests to your guildies. You could also just send friend requests to any friends that you have. So we sent friend requests to people that we know, which is just my alt accounts. And you can go to the members list in your guild and just start spamming people with friend requests. I'm only going to spam that one person. And one other thing you can do is, I mentioned editing your profile so it's not just the generic ones, so you look like a little bit less of a bot. Change your message to something, and then what I did last time I had an account was I kind of just went here and just started typing in random letters, and I would just look for people who are rank 70 and just start adding them. But that guy has not a DPS as his lead. I kind of just started spamming people with friend requests. And it takes a little while, but eventually you do start ending up with a decent amount of people in your friends list. You kind of just take time to do this, and I won't be using supporters to clear story except for a couple of stages, but this is just an example of how you can make your story clearing experience a lot easier. So now we've unlocked the Labyrinth. The Labyrinth is pretty much just an exploration map where you can, let's go to it first, Battle, Labyrinth. It's just an exploration map where you can get a bunch of rewards. Before we actually start doing the Labyrinth, we're going to go get a bit of gear from the Path of Air first before coming back. This is just where you can unlock stuff, and this Asmach cycle down here is some pretty endgame content. This is pretty much the goal that we are aiming for. But it's good to get through all of the labyrinths and get the rewards, especially now that it costs nothing in order to actually enter them. So you can just do this whenever you want, and it doesn't cost you anything. After clearing episode 1, chapter 1, we can now start working towards Path of Air 4, and the important ones we're aiming for is going to be these two pieces so we can complete a full destruction set. So we're going to go grab that real quick. One thing I should mention is on stages that you've cleared before, you can use quick battles. I'm going to just use 2 now because we only need 2 more clears. It's similar to arena quick battling. It'll just simulate the fight for you, and if you're able to clear, then you'll get it clear. So now we can go grab this. We can go to our Arbiter Vildred. We can also level him up a bit more. And we actually are pretty close to getting him to level 50. So we'll just toss that in for now. You can just equip him. Let's enhance the pieces. So we're just going to plus 15 them. And we can also look to do some awakens since we got some rune chests. We don't have enough runes. We can farm some later, but we'll also get a bit more rune chests from the Orbis guide here if I just clear Spirit Altar 3 times. So we can also go quick battle Spirit Altar 3 times, and we can also do Arena 3 more times. We have no flags, but pretty soon we'll have enough friendship points to buy the Arena flags. We need 30 more points. So now that we've enhanced our RB, we're going to head to Terrell Castle and Chaos, and the pieces that we're targeting is going to be this necklace and this ring, because these will be our first 2 right side pieces, and they'll help give us a bit more crit chance since we're pretty low on that. You also have some attack set gear. This doesn't really matter. You can aim for the rewards in the chests though. One thing worth mentioning for Labyrinth is when you open the map, you're going to want to head to the portal, the yellow tile, that says, or it's orange, sorry, that says Area 2, or whatever the next area is. You have to exit through this specific portal in order to make it into the next zone. And there's also all the gold chests marked as well. And there's also the huge shop, which we should take a look at as well. Pretty much his shop is going to contain some charms, which we can pick up, and every once in a while he'll also contain covenant bookmarks. Those aren't the main things you want to pick up. You can ignore the friendship bookmarks, and I also personally skipped catalysts as well. Each labyrinth also gives you one free respawn per entry. Because labyrinths are infinite entry now, there's technically not really much of a need to greed and to see whether or not you can clear. If you do want a bit more morale though, like here, I'm pretty close to the teleport point and I don't really want to go back. You can go to camping feature, and it doesn't really matter what you click on. You can just click on anything as long as one person's positive. It'll automatically bump it up to at least 15. So this way, no matter what you pick, as long as it's not negative or no reaction, you'll be able to get a good amount of morale back. So in Zone 3 of Thrall Castle, the first chest we're looking for is going to be over here. This is our crit set necklace, and you can see it's over here on the map. Once you get it, you can go to Area 4. Since we've got our necklace now, we can equip him with it, and we can also enhance it. I'm just going to enhance it to +9 for now. You can go higher if you want. I'm just trying to save some resources for some other pieces. Pretty unlucky rolls that I hit HP twice, but it's whatever. It's good enough for us for now. For Area 4, the chest we'll be aiming for is actually the one all the way in the back. So we're going to have to make it all the way through the lab. And you can see there's a little lock here. In order to get past this lock, we need a key. And the key is in this tile here, right behind Hoochie. So now we've made it to the second chest with the ring. And we can get out of here and put it on our RB. We can give him the ring and we can enhance it a little bit too. Let's get it to +9. We dodged the crit chance, which is unfortunate. 65% is not the highest, but it's good enough for us to work with for now. Okay, so we have hit rank 15, which means that we unlock one very important thing. First, we got to get through the story. Not Yuna. Yuna is not the important thing. If we go back to the lobby and we go to the events page, we can now claim our free Iseria. So we're going to pick up Iseria here. And we can put her on your team if you want. At this point, it's kind of still just RB carrying everything. I'm going to put her in for now for the EXP. But largely, we're just going to use the supporters. Or at least the free ones. Now that we've cleared Chapter 3, we can go back to the Orbis guide and we can work on clearing Path of Air 4 and Path of Air 5. So for Path of Air 5, it asks you to enhance one artifact to +6 or higher. And for that, it's going to be a bit hard to tell what artifact you want to enhance. You might not have rolled any good ones yet from the Covenant summons. I happen to have gotten one already. Steadfast Gatekeeper is one that's worth enhancing. If you're not sure what to enhance, you can check the 3 to 4 star selling guide to see which ones you definitely don't want to enhance. 5 stars aren't necessarily good. They can be pretty hit or miss. If you're not sure, you can ask in the Discord, or you can just pick an artifact and enhance it to +6. The important thing, though, is don't go past +6. Like, I'll enhance this now, and I'm going to leave it at exactly +6. This is because in Path to Air 8, in Part 8, there is a mission over here that says enhance any artifact +15 levels. I don't know why it's written like this. This is get an artifact to +15, and it's not retroactive. If you have a +15 artifact, this won't count. You'll have to enhance a second artifact to +15. So you're definitely going to want to leave that artifact at +6 for now. You can see from the future noting that I am very stupid. Even though I literally talked about how the missions are not retroactive, when I +6'd this artifact, I was still on one Path of Air before the one that asks you to +6, so I did have to +6 a second artifact later. Make sure you're not making the same mistake that I did. Your reward for clearing Path of Air 5 is an Episode 1 5-star Hero Selector, and I'd recommend not claiming this immediately and holding on to it for as long as possible. It goes into your mail and it lasts for 7 days. Make sure you don't forget to claim it, of course, but the thing is, in the Path to Air, if you jump forward a little bit, you start getting a lot of 5-star Hero Selectors. So there's a chance that if you claim it too early, and also there's a bunch of free Covenant summons, there's a chance that if you claim the Selector immediately, by the time your 7 days are up, you might have already rolled the unit, whether it's from Covenant summons, or 5-star tickets, or whatever. So I would say try to hold on to it for as long as you can. Once you do decide to use it, though, you've got a few options for what to pick from the Hero Selector. I think Ball and Sezin is a pretty decent one. He's kind of just a PvE unit. He has no PvP usage at all, but he's a really good debuffer for Earth Expedition, which is content you're running throughout the entire month, though it's on a rotation, so not every month, but whenever it's here, you're always running it. And he's also good for Nightmare Vera, which is content you'll be regularly running once you hit mid-game. The other unit choice is probably Destina. She's okay in PvP, not really used that much. For PvE, she's only used for Nightmare Jewel. Similar to Nightmare Vera, it's just a piece of mid-game content you do once every month. As a PvE healer, though, she's pretty much completely outclassed in her role by several healers, like Hades, Montmorency, Tamarin. So she doesn't really have much PvE usage besides that. For your other unit choices, Vildred is hard to recommend because his main draw is his speed imprint. You need a few more Vildreds for him to really be good. Chloe is an option that needs explaining. So Chloe is only relevant right now because of Rift. Rift is an upgraded version of Hunt, which is where we farm our gears. So Rift is just the best gear farming place around. Typically, when Rift releases, there will be a new RGB hero that comes out that is really, really good at clearing that Rift. For this Rift, it's Fene. Fene is not available right now unless you pay $10 to open her banner. You do still have to summon her, it just opens her banner. And that pack is unlocked once Rift actually unlocks for your account. But the gap between Fene and Chloe is massive, because Fene starts soloing the Rift from the very start if you have the gear for it. At worst, you 2-man it until a little bit, because Rift, you unlock stuff and it gets easier as you go. And then after a little bit, you start soloing it anyways. Chloe needs a full team with her. So the question then becomes, are you going to build Chloe plus all of the other units you need to build in order to clear Rift? Or are you just going to wait like probably 3 to 4 months, just a few months, for the next Rift to start and to get that unit? I think you go either way. Rift definitely is the best place to farm gear, but there's plenty of people who don't farm Rift and they're okay. There are people who play PvP in Legend RTA who don't farm Rift. There's people who just don't prioritize gear as much and like getting bookmarks and skystones from Hunt and do Hunt instead of Rift because of that. So I think it's okay to do Wyvern. And there's one more thing to consider, which is that in the Path of Air, first off, you get this Soul Weaver 5-star hero summon ticket. Since Fene specifically is a Soul Weaver, there was a 1 in 9 chance for me to hit her from this ticket, and I didn't hit her, which happens. It's only 1 in 9, but there is the potential that you roll her and Chloe ends up becoming completely useless. There's also the free Covenant summons that you get at multiple points throughout this path. And basically, you also have a chance to get Fene from there as well. So it's not just dupes of units actually in the selective that you have to consider. If you're picking a unit that's meant to be like a budget option of somebody else, you have to make sure that you don't roll the better version of them as well, or the thing that replaces them in whatever content they're used in. And Chloe will of course be completely irrelevant after Ice Rift ends, so if you're watching this much in the future, don't pick Chloe. Now we've unlocked the Catalyst Exchange, and this is pretty simple really. It's just In any episode chapter, you can click on this little shop icon here, and this is where you can exchange the AP that you get from clearing stages for catalysts, and that's really all there is to it. So now that we've cleared Chapter 5, we unlock the Alchemist Steeple, which is the final area in the Sanctuary. So we can go check it out real quick. Lobby and Sanctuary. The Alchemist Steeple is at the very bottom. And here is where you can craft charms and craft substat modification gems. This one is something you're not going to have seen yet. This is just, it lets you change out a substat on your piece of gear for another one. And you'll get these from doing expeditions later, so this isn't too important. You just need to know that it's here. With this, you can do your charm crafting. And in order to do this, you're going to need equipment cores. And you can get equipment cores by extracting equipment. When you have equipment, you have the option to either sell or extract it. Extracting the pieces, largely you're going to want to extract higher tier pieces because the amount of cores you get for extracting is going to vary with how high the level is. I've actually never extracted a Goblin Gear. It's only 2 cores. It's not really that much. It's not really worth that much. So I would personally recommend just selling if it's below level 85. And then once you get to the level 85 gear from hunts, that's when you would start extracting stuff. Clearing Chapter 5 also lets us clear this mission in Path of Air 7. So we can claim this, and this gives us a Potion of Ascension. This instantly promotes a hero to 6-star. Notably, if the hero is a 3-star or a 4-star at base, they also skip the in-between promotions, so they just go straight to 6-star. So technically, if you're min-maxing, you want to use this on a 3 or 4-star to save some resources, but it doesn't really cost that much to promote to 4-star and 5-star, so if you want, you could just use it on a 5-star just so you're promoting the next thing you're using. We are going to be using this on Mercedes. In order to use it, you can either use it from your inventory, you either do the use here, or you can just go to the character and hit promotion, and then you can click on use for the potion, and you can promote them that way. Mercedes is a character we're going to be using a lot throughout pretty much the entire game, and we're going to be trying to push her to level 60 eventually. Right now I'm saving these epic penguins, but we're going to be pushing her as our first level 60, as we need to get 2 characters to level 60 in order to promote our Armory to 6-star. So we can enhance her, and she also serves as a second DPS for our adventure team. We can also use the attack set that we just got from clearing Path of Air 6 and put that on her as well. I'm not going to enhance it for now, just because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all of my resources yet. But we can also 3-star awaken her, as 3-star awakening her lets her give attack buff to all allies when using her S3. Now we can see that it now increases attack of all allies for 2 turns. And another thing is, in the Path of Air Part 8, we need to reach level 60 with a hero anyways, so something that we were going to have to do soon, no matter what. The other missions, clear floor 15 in Abyss is pretty trivial. We can just toss in RB. And then we'll have to clear Episode 1, Chapter 6 in order to clear Part 8. Now I'll be trying to clear Chapter 6 to finish up Episode 1. If you find yourself getting stuck on any of the boss stages, this is a good time to start abusing supporters. Clearing Episode 6, or clearing Episode 1, Chapter 6 unlocks a lot of things. There's Specialty Change, Side Story, Grace of Growth, and also we can move into Episode 2. So let's go over Specialty Changes first. On the top right, under the Recruit tab, you can find the Specialty Change menu over here. This lets you power up specific 3-star heroes. You're going to have to own the hero and get them to level 30, plus some of them have additional requirements as well. So you can check out the specialty change guide which shows all of the missions for the units and their specialty changes, as well as how to clear them. I also highly recommend checking out this min-maxing tab that I made, because some of these specialty changes have overlapping missions. Like, there's all of these units that ask for Spirit Altar, so you can put 2 of these units in your specialty change slot, because you can only have 2 active at once. And then you can just run them together to save yourself some time. Also, something like this, Ross and Pillis both want to farm the same stage. And also, there are some units that have really, really long missions, like Commander Lorina's specialty change asks for 1,500 monster kills. There's also some stuff like clearing Hunt 150 times, or Captain Rickers's ridiculous 250 arena battles. So you can keep these active even if you're not actively targeting a specialty change. It's nice to have some of these on in the background. This first specialty change we're going to aim for is Lorina, mainly because we can get her pretty easily. We can go back to connections, grab Lorina. We have 2 of the missions done already, and then we have 1 more mission, which is just to summon some penguins. Go to the growth altar, set this to 9. And now we should be done with her mission. So we can go here. We can recruit her. Connection complete. And now we own her. So all we have to do is get her to level 30. We can level her up. Just get her to level 30 real quick. And now if we go back to the specialty change menu, she will be available for us to select. So we can start the specialty change quest. And now we have a bunch of her missions to go through. The main one that's going to keep us here for a while is the eliminate 1,500 monsters in adventure. So it's good for us to start this immediately so we can start working on it. Next up is the side story. Tab. There is a lot of stuff in here, so let's go over it one by one. First up, there is the side story and hero story. These are pretty much related. In the side story, you're going to see a bunch of different ones. There's the rotating side story list, which is this one. Dear Mentor is sort of the tutorial for it. Basically, the way it works is you go in, you're going to have some stages to clear. And then once you clear the stages, there will always be one stage where you can farm and get the currency, which you can spend in the shop. Being a tutorial, this shop is greatly reduced. But once you finish clearing the shop and you got everything you want, also from the reputations, then you can start a different side story. And then you can just, every 2 weeks, you'll be able to switch your side story out for a different one, and you can continue clearing the shops. Also, any new heroes, like Guard Captain Crow, that have a side story associated with them, will have their side story available to clear as well. And we can actually use this to take a look at what one of the full side story looks like. So you can see there's 10 stages this time. The reputations go up to 50 battles, and also the exchange is much, much larger. So what you should prioritize in the exchange, you definitely want the Covenant bookmarks and the Molagoras, as well as the charms, I would say. And then after that, if you want catalysts, then you can buy the catalysts. And also, potentially, the gifts. These are used to give friendship EXP to your heroes, if you want to max out their friendship. Some of these can be useful, as getting friendship 10 is necessary for some mission somewhere. And also gives 3 skill points for that unit. Skill points are basically Molagoras specifically for that unit, so you can only really use it on that unit. That's also why sometimes you'll see me enhance units to just short of what I recommend you enhance their skills to. So that way I can eventually use the 3 skill points for the last bit. If the unit's already plus 15, you won't have anywhere to spend the skill points, so they'll just give you 3 Molagoras back instead. I should also talk about the way farming stages work in side stories. You've got 4 difficulties, and if you're looking to clear the shop, the highest difficulty will give the most currency per energy. Hell only has 5 entries, so after you do your 5 entries, you can start doing hard. If you are a newer account, Hell can be hard to do. This is a very good time to pick out some supporters and start abusing them, There are some units that are really good at soloing stages that you might want to pick up from your friends list. And then if you can't clear the highest difficulties, don't worry about it, just clear a lower one and it's fine. You'll typically want to clear whatever side story is active here if there's a new unit, and also sometimes you'll have the special side stories. This one just ended, the Miracle Maid Kingdom, but special side stories are just much bigger events, typically 3-4 weeks long. And they also have much more rewards. And sometimes they'll have some fun little mini games, like we've had a rhythm game one before. Old special side stories can be found here in the Book of Memories. In the Book of Memories, you can read any old special side stories that have already released like 2 years ago, roughly, is the time. To enter, though, you'll need a milestone in time, and the milestone in time costs 900 Skystones. Don't buy this immediately yet, though, because in the Path of Air, part 25, I believe, part 25 gives you 2 milestone in time for free. So you're definitely going to want to wait until you get this before you start doing the Book of Memories. And here it mentions obtain Hero Tamarin from Connections as one of the missions, and it just so happens that Tamarin's connection asks you to clear this specific side story. So our first milestone in time will always go towards the Bittersweet Dessert Festival. Your second token has a couple of choices. There's a small miracle down here, which gives, I think, 50 skin tickets it was. You can use that to purchase skins if you want. This artifact is mildly useful. It's not that great because it needs plus 30, but it's mainly the skin tickets that you're here for. There's also, if you're into PvE stuff, sometimes Midnight Bloom can be useful. This artifact gives 16 crit chance at max level to all allies. It also gives imprints for Yuna. There's also, where is it? The Order of the Sword and the Lord of the Summer. This isn't too useful. It's the specialty change Alexa, but she isn't really needed that much. And then the other summer side story, Holy Order of the Blue Cross and the Mysterious Island. Super Duper Water Shooter can be nice for some PvE content. 900 Skystones is a bit steep of a price, though. There's also Eulogy of a Saint, which I don't personally use. A lot of people farm here. I don't bother, but I'm just going to mention it. Also, there's Unrecorded History, which is definitely worth mentioning. This doesn't cost Skystones, it only costs 100,000 gold. You definitely want to clear this. I'm going to buy it now, actually. You buy it and you immediately get 5 Covenant bookmarks. And then inside, you'll find Kazran, another Guardian. But more importantly, you'll have some imprints for both Ross and Mercedes in here. So it's definitely worth picking these up, as both of them are used very frequently. And then Hero Story is just the rotating side story list, and you can see which ones are available. And there's also the Moonlight Theater, which unlocks after you clear all of Episode 2, so we'll save that for later. We've also unlocked Grace of Growth, which you can find here in the top right. There's this Grace of Growth feature. Grace of Growth is really, really useful. We're going to instantly register Angelica, which is... she's on my supporters and my defense team, so I have to take her off of my arena defense. This is also why I said to not assign her to your Guild War defense, because if she's on your Guild War defense, you're not going to be able to take her off if there's an active Guild War. So Guild War defense, arena defense, and supporters are where you're not allowed to have anybody who is in Grace of Growth. So we'll take out Angelica for now. And now we can go to Grace of Growth, and we can register her. So this is basically going to temporarily max out the unit for you eventually. We're only at stage 1 right now, which is level 50, 5-star Awaken, and you can see we're going to get at level 2, it's going to enhance her S3 3 times. At level 3, it'll be level 60, 6-star Awaken, with 6 skill points in her, 6 towards her S3, and if it caps, it goes 1 to her S2. And then once you hit level 4, it'll fully max her out. So this is very, very nice because Angelica is a very good example. You want to use this on units that you're not going to be permanently using. Angelica we will be dropping very quickly in probably a couple of days. And after that, she never sees any usage ever again. So instead of using resources on her, we can put her in here to keep her built temporarily. Once you hit withdraw, there'll be a 3-day cooldown before you can put another unit in. You can use Skystones to reduce the cost, but it's not really worth it. You should just wait it out. Also, this second slot is completely useless because it only lasts for 30 days. So it's not really worth paying the Skystones when it's not permanent. In order to increase the level of Grace of Growth, we can check here the stage info. Second stage unlocks when we have 3 level 50 heroes. This will be pretty easy to get. And we'll be aiming for the third stage first, as this will be more than enough for us to start clearing Wyvern. Stage 3 will unlock when we have 3 level 60 heroes. Our first 2 heroes that we'll be getting to level 60 will be Mercedes, who's already level 60, Sigrid, who we'll get for free in a little bit, and then getting 2 heroes to level 60 also unlocks the part of the Moonlight Blessing that lets us promote RB to 6-star, so we can get him to level 60 as well as the third unit. We can also clear Path of Air 8 now. This gets us an Awakening Potion, and this instantly awakens any level 60 hero. They have to already be level 60 to 6-star Awaken. For the best value, you'll want to use this on a 5-star rarity hero, since they have higher rune costs than 4 or 3 rarity heroes, with no awakens, so you're not wasting any sort of awakens there. We'll be saving this for Sigrid later after we unlock her. You also get an artifact selector for clearing this path, and for this artifact selector, we can take a look at it. Of your choices here, I would say again, you want to hold this for as long as possible. It's not just because you could get a dupe from the various 5-star tickets that you will be getting. It's also because artifacts need to have units to use them. And when your unit pool is really shallow, it can be kind of hard to figure out what you want to be using your artifact selector on. So you're basically hoping that you're going to roll some units, good units, that will be able to use these artifacts in the next 6 days. Once that timer starts running out though, the best choices are going to be Windrider, Sacred Scythe, or Holy Sacrifice. Song of Stars is already free, and nothing else here is really worth it, I would say, compared to these 3. Bruiser Warriors rather, are the main users for Sacred Scythe. Increases their damage a bit and also gives them a bit of sustain when their HP gets low. Windrider for DPS thieves, very strong artifact. And then Holy Sacrifice for knights, as it gives them a barrier and a revive when they die. The proc chance on this is a bit low though, you need plus 30 for consistency, but it's still pretty strong. So now we'll be moving into episode 2 in order to progress the story, but make sure that you clear any available side stories before they end. We've unlocked the Automaton Tower, which you can just go to battle, and then there will be the Automaton Tower. There's not really too much to say about this. You have to start out from the lowest level and then work your way up. Pretty much, you just go in, select your team, you just put in your strongest units. So for me, that would just be the story team that I'm using. And this resets every 2 weeks, and you'll want to try to clear this out before it resets. There's also going to be a variety of devices. There's 3 seasons, which will have different devices. In general, whatever your strongest DPS is, you're going to want to look for devices that enhance their damage. So if you're stacking a team of, let's say, fire units, you would go for fire damage increase and whatnot. Some heroes also specifically have devices for them that buffs them up. And this isn't too important. Some of them are really good, some of them are pretty meh. I don't think any of these are too important. And then eventually you'll kind of get used to it, where certain seasons have specific devices that are really good. Like this Defiance device is really good. And the class enhancement is also pretty nice. But in general, you can just pick the devices that work with the units that you have. And then for the higher difficulties, you can see you can reset 3 times. So when you're starting out on Automaton Tower, on every single reset, you should always try to clear the next difficulty. And if you get stuck, then you can reset for free, go down a difficulty, and try again the next rotation. Clearing all of Episode 2, Chapter 1 also unlocks the Secret Shop. In the Secret Shop, this is where you will have a bunch of items for sale, 6 per menu, and it's actually the best source of Covenant bookmarks and Mystic medals in the game for summoning. You can purchase Covenant bookmarks in the shop, in the normal shop, and it's $9.50 for 50, so it's 95, or 50 is 10 rolls, so it's 95 sky stones per 10 rolls. When you purchase it in the secret shop, it's RNG, but due to us doing so many summons, numbers flatten out a little bit, but it's roughly 70 sky stones for Covenant bookmark, or for 5 Covenant bookmarks, so you end up saving a pretty decent amount. And then for Mystic Metals, it's 270 sky stones on average for 1 Mystic roll, or 50 Mystic Metals. And this is pretty much the primary source of Mystic Metals, as you're not really going to get them from that many other places. It's from Guild War, and then from the Guild Shop for armbands, and that's about it. You can also level up the shop, which leveling up the shop is mainly just to increase the quality of gear that you get. It's not too important, but it does also give you a free summon for some of the lower ones. And when you're rolling, you'd pretty much just look up and down. If you don't see any bookmarks, you refresh. And then you just go until you get the bookmarks. There's also a way to do this on emulator using keyboard controls, which is what I normally do. But this is definitely where you should be spending all of your sky stones when you're looking for bookmarks to summon with. Pets are unlocked when you hit rank 20, and you can go on the top right, and there's the pet house here. And then first, you'll have to pick one pet to adopt. It doesn't really matter which one you pick here, they're all the same, just whatever one you think looks the cutest. We'll go with the little dog. And now you can see some skills. So the skills are going to be... the skills list out anywhere? The skills list out here. So there's different types of skills. There's lobby types and then battle skills. That also means there's 2 types of pets, lobby pets and battle pets. We can do a little bit more summoning. Now we have a lobby pet. Your lobby pet, you'd go here to assign it to your lobby. And then every 22 hours, pretty much once a day, you'll get a gift. The quality of the gift increases as your pet increases in rank as well. And then your battle pet, you want to have 1 per type of content, pretty much. So there's going to be 1 for runes. You can see here there's... I don't know why it's not ordered properly, but there's a chance to get 1 extra epic rune, a chance to get 2 extra greater runes, and a chance to get 3 extra common runes. You'd want to have all 3 of these together. And then there's equipment for hunt, equipment for rift, charm for hunt, charm for rift, reforge for hunt, reforge for rift. You'd want to keep these split up between hunt and rift. And then there's some event currency for side story, rare catalyst, and adventure in side story, as well as double catalyst points when you're farming episode. So it's 4 pets for battle, and then 1 lobby pet. You get 1 free summon a day, which I did earlier. So you definitely want to come in here and do your free summons each day. You also get, you can buy pet adoption tickets for gold. This is pretty costly though, so I'd be very wary of doing this until you have a bunch of gold. The Path of Air gives out a bunch of pet tickets, like there's some that I'm going to get right now. So we can do 2 10 summons, and you can see all the different types. Your pet skills can go from rank D to rank S. Definitely, of course, the higher tier pets give slightly more rewards. We don't have any S pets, so we'll just have to see what we got. For the best lobby pet, I would say, if we could take a look at the skills here. The Enhance EXP, Great Success, and Good Success are going to be the best pets. If you want a little bit more gold, then you can swap the Good Success for Enhance cost. That's for lobby pets, and then the battle pets I mentioned earlier. The way to enhance your pets is when you release pets, they will transform into these little crystal of memories. And you can use these crystal of memories to level up your pets. So you want to get this tutorial out of the way. You want to level up your pet all the way to level 9. We need 1 more, so we have to sell off 1 more pet. To sell off the random D rank 1. So we can level this up. and then we can synthesize it. When you're synthesizing it, you can pick a different pet, and you can pick which appearance you want. And depending on what generation you are, you can pick 1 or up to 3 skills. It's when you hit generation 5, which is the maximum, that's when you can select 3 skills and you can get your perfect pet. The chance of your pet actually reaching the higher generation is RNG, but you can use crystals to increase the odds. I need 1 crystal to hit 100%, which I don't have. I'm not going to bother synthesizing right now. And then one way to, or I should synthesize, I can show the thing. One way you can try to fish for more skills is when you synthesize this, you're going to, let's do this. You're going to synthesize this, and we're going to not select any skills. We're just going to synthesize it. And that's where you would hope to get an S rank skill, which we didn't get. And then if you didn't get what you want, then you can release it and you would still get 8 crystals. Going from 1 to 2 star via that method only costs you 1 crystal of memory, and the Path of Air is going to give you a bunch of crystal of memories eventually. Here there's like 100, and then there's like 100 here too. The crystal memories are needed because the cost to guarantee the synthesis goes up very high once you go from 4 star to 5 star especially. But typically you're going to be gated by your skills and not having S rank skills more than you are by the crystals. So I definitely recommend doing the promotion method at least from 1 to 2 star. Going from 2 star to 3 star also doesn't cost that much. So you could also potentially do that as well. Pets are very important though, because assigning a pet to your team is what allows you to repeatedly battle some stages. We don't have Hunt unlocked yet, so we can check Spirit Altar. If we go to Spirit Altar, pick any stage, and then if you assign a pet, you can see if I turn off the quick battle, I can do up to 15 repeat battles. The repeat battling limit will increase based on the generation of your pet. It's going to be 5 at 1 star, 10 at 2 star, 15 at 3, 20 at 4, and then going to 5 pushes it all the way up to 30. Pets are definitely very useful. Make sure that you're doing your daily pet summon here. Clearing Chapter 3 in Episode 2 is a very important unlock, as this will unlock both Hunt and the Steel Workshop for us. So let's quickly explain what those things are, as well as Furious's connection. If you go to battle in Hunt, this is the first location we will be farming our gear in. And we're going to be prioritizing the Wyvern Hunt. This is just because Wyvern Hunt drops speed set, and speed set is extremely valuable, plus the way the game is going to nudge you towards clearing hunts, it gives you all of the units that you need and all of the gear to clear Wyvern Hunt. Wyvern Hunt and all of the hunts drop crafting mats. These crafting mats you can use in the Steel Workshop. In the Steel Workshop, you can craft equipment using these materials, and we don't have a lot right now, but eventually you'll be able to do 1 or 10 crafts of the materials that you want. You can also reforge the gear. Any gear that has 85 as its level can be reforged into 90 gear. These resources you'll get from expeditions, which you'll start doing later, and you can also get them from the hunts themselves. There's also equipment reset, which lets you essentially move a gear back to its base stats, and you can try again. These materials are really rare, so you should be very careful when using them. There's also equipment conversion. These conversion gems are the blue boxes that you've seen in the shop for the Transmit Stone shop as well as the guild shop already. And these let you essentially pick a stat as the main stat for the piece. So for the left side gear, which is the sword, the helm, and the chest, you would use the blue flat stats because you wouldn't use them otherwise. And then for the other ones, you can just pick whatever main stat you want. And you can't see it right now, but it's the same cores that you use for charm crafting. If I try to extract this, these are the cores that you would use, and you would use cores in order to select which set you want for the piece. There's also exclusive equipment crafting, which lets you, basically, when you're crafting exclusive equipment in Hall of Trials, which, have we unlocked that yet, actually? No, you haven't unlocked Hall of Trials yet. You get this after clearing Chapter 4. But Hall of Trials lets you get exclusive equipment, which power up your units, and you can have a pity system of sorts, since crafting them, or since rolling them in the shop is RNG. This lets you craft them. You select the skill, you can pick which skill you want, and then once you put in 6 more exclusive equipments, you'll be able to get the effect that you want, with the max stat as well. So this is the start of our gear farming journey, and there's also the Journey of Secession that has opened up in the Orbis guide. We've got Challenge Hunt, Challenge Asmaculus, which is a Labyrinth, Challenge Rift, which we're saving for later. This doesn't unlock until rank 50, and you do Rift after doing Hunt, and then there's Challenge Hall of Trials. So we're going to focus on Hunt, and you're going to want to select Wyvern Hunt first in general, but you can move back at any point, and you can always clear the other ones as well, because these other ones also reward a pretty good amount of useful gear for us. Most importantly is the Wyvern one, so we're going to be starting off with this in the next part.